A complex fraction is a fraction that has a fraction in the numerator or the denominator or both. So in this lesson, we're going to be simplifying complex fractions and changing them from complex to a simpler fraction. There's two methods. This first method is useful in some situations, and some people like it the best because it makes sense to them. The steps in this are to add the terms in the numerator if there's more than one. If there's more than one, then you're going to add the terms in the denominator. Then once you get it down so you have a single fraction over a single fraction, then we're going to divide the numerator fraction divided by the denominator. All right, so example 1. We have 9 over x divided by 6x squared over y. So this bar is the main bar of the big fraction here. So there's a little fraction here and a little fraction here. So there's a fraction in the numerator and a fraction in the denominator. Since there's only one term, I don't need to do any addition here, and I don't need to do any addition here. So all I'm going to do is take the numerator, which is 9 over x, and I'm going to divide it by the denominator, which is 6x squared over y. All right, so remember that when you're doing division with fractions, that you keep the first fraction the same, change to multiplication, and then flip the second one. So this will be y over 6x squared. So now we're ready to do some multiplication and do some canceling. And, well, there's nothing, I guess there's not a little bit to cancel. I have this 9 and 6, and 3 goes into both of those. So 3 and 2. So I end up, when I do my multiplication, with 3y divided by 2, and then I'm going to end up with x times x squared, so x to the third power. And that is my simpler fraction. There's nothing else I can do to reduce. B is pretty much the same situation. Here's my fraction bar in the middle. Fraction in the numerator, fraction in the denominator. There's just a single one, so there's no addition here that I need to do, no addition here I need to do. So I'm then just going to take my numerator, so 4x divided by x minus 3, and divide it by my denominator, which is 6x squared divided by x plus 3. Then I'm going to change it to multiplication, so I have 4x over x minus 3 times x plus 3 over 6x squared. I want to look to see if there's any reducing I can do in this multiplication. I can't do this here. One's a minus, one's a plus. But I do say my 4 and my 6, I can reduce by a 2, go into that twice. 2 will go into 6 3 times. And then my x and my x squared will leave me with an x on my second denominator. So when I write this out, I have 2x plus 3 in the parentheses divided by 3x and x minus 3. And you can leave your answer in that form rather than distributing. Example C is a little bit harder because you see here's my big fraction again. I do have two separate terms in the numerator that I need to add. So in order to add these fractions in the numerator, I need the LCD of the numerator fractions, which is going to be y squared. So we'll have a y squared here, y squared here. And numerator's not going to change. And here I'm going to need, say I went from y to y squared, so I need to multiply by y over y, that clever one. And that's going to give me 1 times y is y, and there's a minus in the middle. Then divided by the denominator, I'm going to now find, I need to add these together, so I need a common denominator for these two fractions, which is going to be x squared. So I have an x squared here, and x squared here. This didn't change, so my numerator there doesn't change. That's still y. Again, a minus. And then x, I multiplied by x to get here, so I need to multiply this by x as well and get an x. So now I'm going to add my numerator together, keep that common denominator, and I have then x minus y, all divided by, here, my x squared in the denominator, and y minus x. Now I'm ready to do my division, where I'm going to take my numerator and divide it by my denominator. So I have, I'll do that in a different color, I have then x minus y over y squared. I'm going to divide it by y minus x over x squared. So that's going to change to x minus y over y squared times x squared over y minus x. When I do my multiplication, I see that x minus y and y minus x will cancel to be a -1. And when I multiply, I get negative x squared over y squared for my final simple answer for that. Now I want you to stop the video and try D and E now, because I'm getting ready to show you a different method where we'll do the same problems a different way. So while this method is fresh in your mind, give these a try and see how it goes. Pick up on the next video.